The Laundering, Volume 2, Case 38, The Receipt. A donation that vanishes by declining the one piece of paper that would record it. Open the case.
Saskatchewan discloses political money. Give to a party or a candidate above $250 and your name is published. But give to a constituency association and decline the tax receipt and the gift is filed nowhere. The association reports nothing to Elections Saskatchewan, and the money later surfaces at party headquarters relabeled as the association's own contribution. The donor is washed out of the sentence. The claim of this case is narrow. A disclosure regime that leaves unreported the one vehicle through which the largest, most interested money can move, uncapped and open to corporate, union, and out-of-province cash, is not a disclosure regime with a gap. The gap is the load-bearing part.
Why not read this as dry provincial housekeeping, a reporting technicality? Because that reading retires the structure.
The grammar beneath every case names a recurring move: agent deletion. Keep the act, remove the actor. So the sentence that reaches the public has no one in it. Here, the act is a political donation, and the deleted actor is the donor. The same dollar is an outside gift when it enters the constituency association, and the association's own money when it reaches the party, and the public record only ever sees the second description. This is the provincial twin of Case 37, where a federal disclosure rule was fitted with a threshold and a clock, so the biggest secret money cleared the standard. There, the wash was a ratio and a date. Here, it is a vehicle and a receipt.
Walk me through the mechanism. How does a donation disappear?
Saskatchewan's Election Act requires registered parties and candidates to file audited returns naming every contributor over $250. Constituency associations are not in that sentence. They are not required to file financial returns with Elections Saskatchewan at all. So a contribution that goes to an association has only two ways of ever becoming a public fact, and a determined donor can close both. First, the receipt. A political contribution can earn a tax credit, but only against a receipt, and a receipt is a record. Decline the credit, and you decline the paper trail. Second, the relabel. When the association forwards money up to headquarters, the party's return discloses the contribution as coming from the association. The donor never appears. And nothing narrows the pipe. Saskatchewan sets no limit on the size of a contribution and permits corporations, unions, and out-of-province money alike. In one 2019 study, roughly a fifth of the governing party's corporate donations came from outside the province. The small and visible is named. The large and interested chooses the door marked association.
Is there a tell somewhere this is stated plainly?
In the governing party's own rule book. The Saskatchewan Party's constitution requires every one of its constituency associations to submit to headquarters a complete list of all donations received, donor names and amounts, by the 1st of February each year, and audited financial statements by the 1st of April. Read that against the law. The disclosure the public is told is impractical or unnecessary or nobody's business is already compiled in full and delivered on a schedule to the one party that needs no telling, the people in power. The information exists. It flows up to the center and never out to the voter. That is the move in a single document. Disclosure is not impossible here. It is directional.
How unusual is this, really?
Saskatchewan is the outlier. Everywhere comparable, the constituency association is a reporting entity. The money is capped, and the corporate check is simply not allowed. Federally, electoral district associations file annual returns and name donors over $200. Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario all register or report their associations, cap contributions, and restrict giving to individuals. Corporate and union money banned. Saskatchewan is the one jurisdiction where all three are true in reverse. No requirement to file, no cap, and corporations, unions, and out-of-province money all permitted. It is not a province a step behind a moving consensus. It is the one that kept the door every other major jurisdiction recognized and shut. The scholar Royce Coop called Saskatchewan's regime the Wild West of party finance, an academic's phrase, not a flourish.
Build the defense at its strongest. Why might this be acceptable?
3 real points. First, Saskatchewan is not lawless about money in general. Parties and candidates are audited and do name donors over $250, and a public rebate program, up to 50% of a party's eligible election expenses and 60% of a candidate's, exists to make running for office less a function of private wealth. Second, a small donor tax credit rewards exactly the modest, broad-based giving the system is accused of crowding out. Third, requiring every volunteer-run riding association to file audited statements is a real administrative burden, and no one has proven the channel has been abused.
Grant all of it. Does the claim survive?
It sharpens. No proven abuse is what an unreported channel guarantees you will be able to say. The absence of disclosure is the absence of the evidence that would show abuse, not evidence of its absence. A public subsidy flowing through a finance regime with an unlit channel is an argument for lighting it, not against. And the burden objection is answered by the party's own constitution. The records already exist, compiled to a deadline. The strongest case for the status quo is a case for a narrower, better-lit regime, which is exactly what an unreported, uncapped channel is not.
The writer who surfaced this goes further than you do. What is her reading, and why won't you adopt it?
Tammy Robert, who publishes Our Sask and whose reporting is the pointer for this case, reads the gap as deliberate and transactional, that what high-level donors buy through it is, in her words, a permit, an approval, or a look away. The series reports that as a named lens, attributed and not adopted. It alleges no quid pro quo, names no donor, and imputes no motive to any legislator. A gap can be the product of inertia as easily as intent. What the series rests on instead is a documented consensus, not a partisan voice. Every comparable jurisdiction, the federal system, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, already requires constituency associations to report. Saskatchewan is the one that does not, and the province's own chief electoral officer, Michael Boda, has put political finance reform before legislators across more than one cycle. The reform that would surface this channel is the one everywhere else has already adopted.
Name the move and tell me how to catch the next one.
Strip it to the structure. A donor gives to a riding association. A tax receipt is declined. The association forwards the money to headquarters, where the party's return records a contribution from the association. Each step is, on its own, lawful and ordinary, and the integration of the lawful steps is a political donation that arrives at the center with its origin erased, while a complete record of that origin sits in the party's own files, delivered every February. That is agent deletion run on the money that funds a government. Keep the gift, remove the giver, and let the public read a sentence with no one in it. So when the next jurisdiction tells you it discloses political donations, do not read the brochure. Find the vehicle that reports nothing. Ask whether the serious money can reach it without a receipt. And then ask the question the system is built to skip. When a company funds the party that regulates it, does the public get to learn its name?